All right, let's talk about a 9-digit number that's absolutely central to the US tax system, but one that most people totally misunderstand. I'm talking about the individual taxpayer identification number, or the ITIN, and you'll see it's so much more than just a number on a form. For millions of people, it's the key to their entire financial life in America. So let's dive in and unlock its story. So here's what we're gonna do. First, we'll get the basics down, what an ITIN actually is, and, just as important, what it isn't. Then, we'll look at the official story from the IRS before we uncover its unofficial and frankly, way more powerful role in the real world. After that, we'll walk through the tricky application process, and finally, we'll talk about how to keep your ITIN active once you have it. All right, first things first, let's get right to the fundamental question that the ITIN was created to answer in the first place. Think about this for a second. There are literally millions of people living in the US who are required by law to file federal taxes, but they can't get a social security number. So how are they supposed to do it? How do they actually comply with the law? Well, this is the answer. See, back in 1996, the IRS came up with the ITIN for one specific reason: to process tax returns. It was a way to make sure that foreign nationals, resident aliens, and their families could file their taxes and pay what they owed, officially bringing them into the US tax system. Now, it is super important to get this straight. An ITIN is not a social security number. They are two totally different things. An SSN is all about work authorization and earning social security benefits. An ITIN, it's strictly for filing federal taxes. That's it. You can always spot one because it starts with the number 9. And maybe the most important difference. Unlike an SSN, which is for life, an ITIN can actually expire if you don't use it. Okay, so if you ask the IRS, they are crystal clear about what an ITIN is for. They've drawn a very, very specific box around its official purpose. In the government's eyes, this is a whole shebang. The ITIN is a compliance tool, period. It lets people file their returns, it lets them claim some tax credits, and it creates a formal paper trail of their tax history in the US, which, by the way, can be a really valuable thing to have. And the IRS is just as quick to tell you everything an ITIN is not. It doesn't give you permission to work, it doesn't change your immigration status, it's not supposed to be used as a general ID, and no, it won't get you Social Security benefits or the Earned Income Tax Credit. Officially, its usefulness ends the second you file your taxes. But, and this is a huge but, that official story is only half the picture. Because out here, in the real world, this simple tax number has morphed into something way more powerful. This is where the story takes a fascinating turn. While the IRS set these strict limits, the US financial system, banks, lenders, they had a different problem. They had millions of potential customers they wanted to serve, but they needed a way to verify their identities without a social security number. And the solution they found? The ITIN. Major banks, credit unions, and all sorts of lenders started accepting it as a valid identifier. And just like that, the ITIN was transformed. It went from being just a tax tool to becoming the essential key that unlocks the entire US financial system. It's what allows people to open a bank account, build a credit history, get a car loan, and truly participate in the economy. So you're probably thinking, okay, this thing is clearly a big deal. How do I get one? Well, get ready, because the application process itself can be a real challenge, a kind of gauntlet where the stakes are incredibly high. And when I say high stakes, I am not exaggerating. Get this, in 2023 alone, the IRS actually destroyed nearly 8,000 taxpayer documents. We're talking original passports, birth certificates, all because they lost contact with the applicant. That one number tells you everything you need to know about how careful you have to be with this process. So you've basically got 3 paths you can take. You can mail in your application along with your original documents, which, as we just saw, is pretty risky. You can try to snag an appointment at an IRS center to get your documents verified in person, or you can hire a professional, an IRS-authorized certifying acceptance agent, or CAA, who can handle it all for you. So, does it really matter which path you choose? Oh, yeah. The data is pretty dramatic. If you mail in your application yourself, your chances of getting accepted are about 69%. But if you use one of those certified acceptance agents, a CAA, that success rate skyrockets to 86%. That's a huge difference. The takeaway is clear. Getting expert help really matters here. All right, so you've sent everything in. Now what? Well, now you wait. It can take up to 11 weeks during the busy tax season. Your original document should be mailed back to you within 60 days. Now, if that time passes and you haven't heard anything, you can call the main IRS number. But here's a pro tip for you. For problems specifically about your ITIN, you want to call the direct support line, which is 1-800-908-9982. Okay, so getting the ITIN is one thing, but you also have to hang on to it. And that means you've got some responsibilities to keep it active. This right here, this is the one rule you absolutely have to remember. It's called the 3-year rule. If you don't use your ITIN on a federal tax return for 3 straight years in a row, poof, it expires automatically. And if that happens, you can't just pick it up and use it again. You have to go through a whole renewal process, which is basically like starting all over. So what is the ITIN? Really? Is it just a simple administrative tool for the IRS? Or has it become this incredible essential lifeline for financial inclusion? The truth is, it's both. Its story shows how an official government system can be adapted by the real world for totally unofficial needs, creating both amazing opportunities and new kinds of challenges for millions trying to build a life here in the US.